Hello everyone. Okay, so we're going to watercolor paint today. Or we're going to try to make a watercolor painting video with this Chromebook of mine. The last time I did it, I think it overheated and it didn't save the file. It wouldn't cut off. It would, and then poof, gone. It was gone. So we're going to do this one today. Now, I've got some water brushes. This paint here is the white for the parts of the octopus of the Kuretake set that I got, which I love. And in doing it for the octopus and not the surrounding area, because Kuretake, Gamsi, Tambi is a bit shiny. And I like that for the octopus. But for the ocean, I don't want it shiny. But for the glitter part will be for the grass area. And the non-glittery area on that. This is a cheap set of 100 colors of watercolor paper. It had plastic pieces there we're calling a palette. I prefer my palette to look white so that I can know what I'm doing. So I got this thing. It's going to be fun to mix colors with this. And now, so here is how I load my water brushes. They're just the cheap, Just Art brand. This is Just Art. This brand. I don't have the fancy, more expensive ones. I was just testing and trying it out, so I'm starting with the cheaper ones. As probably most of us would want to do, is we're experimenting to see how we like it. I don't really travel outside to color paint, so I like the idea of having my... And that is how turkey baster. Now, I'm going to put this tip on it. And then I've got all of them loaded, preloaded some. So they're ready to go. And so I just want to get this thing off of there and put it in here safely. And there. It's loaded for the next time I need to load up. And so here we go. Now, brush tips on these. I used this one for green before, so I'm going to let's see. I don't know what color I used this one for. So that one will be there. So I'm going to see which brush tip, and that one's smaller. And this one too is like a little wide one. And when I got this set here that I was telling you about, it came with some water pens as well. This one is one that I might use with the blue. I'm just taking off all the lid caps. This one would be good to use the blue, but I don't have much space for the blue, so probably not use that one. Maybe not. And this is one that I used with the green, but I'm probably going to use it with the red. They're stained up. Any people who like to use water brushes, tips on removing the stain. I've seen how you clean them, but I just want to know what is the best way to remove the stains from them. Oh, that one's little. It don't hold as much. I don't know why you want to have a littler chamber. This one's a bigger brush. Probably bigger than the others. So, that one. Okay. And now I'm going to squeeze this onto one of the reds. I'll go start with this red. Start with a lighter one. Get it mixed in there. Swirl it around. I do need that thing. Oops, wrong one. Well, let's see. Let's just do that. Now that I can clean, I don't want too much on. That's going to be fun to clean. Okay, so I didn't look up the color for the eye, so I'll probably just make it black. And if you want to thin this down, you just pump it a little bit of water into it. So, like a little flood of water, and then your color is lighter. And so, for now, I'm working on this area so that it can be drying by the time I get up to the area for the blue. And I suppose there would be some shading there underneath where I'm at because of the arm coming in front of the face, but it's all part of the same thing really, because they just come that way. The skin is like the skin between your toes. If you had aquatic feet, it would be just like that. It just goes one into the other. But he's eating a crab. And I do have watercolor pencils on this to mark it, the areas. I drew it with a number 2 pencil because I'm lazy that way. And yeah. This needs to be dried before dip back into the paint. Bring a little darker into this area. Let it bleed right there a little bit to do some shading. And just kind of slightly go around. Though these Japanese watercolor paints, they're not going to be transparent like ours. Not as transparent anyway. So there's a little forgiveness factor there with that. It's because they don't use gum guar as their binder. They might use honey. Which is really nice to use that honey. So I don't know how well you can see the surface I'm working on. I'll show it to you when I get closer to him. As long as I don't mess up my painting, it needs to dry a little bit before I want to show it to you like that. Back in there for a little bit more. I want this to be a little darker because. And there's the end of his little tentacle thingy arm. One of his 8 arms. Now let's come back here. Get you darker before going to another area. Load it back up. Come back over here. I do need to find a place to sit my arm. I had an air bubble. I do not know why. But I just press squeeze to make it lighter for this area as it's coming down. Even though it's still layering right there. And dip it back into that little paint. I'm getting some Sketchbox samples that they send you, and they didn't have the December shimmering available yet, so I got a coffee watercolor. And the watercolor tubes, there are 2 of it in there, smell like coffee. So this area does need to be darker because it's the other tentacle is coming up in front of it. I want the crab to be a slightly different color of red. He's eating the crab. And he's going yum yum yum. And yes, I looked for pictures and I saw pictures of them eating crabs. So they eat other sea creatures. They're not like the turtle eating grass or anything like that. I think they've shown pictures of the turtles eating the grass. I don't know, maybe turtles also eat some sea creatures too. I have to look into that. Come over here on this arm. Get this down this way. I should have shut my door. Mom's on her phone. She doesn't know I'm making a video. Just making little air bubbles as I squeeze it. Out. I need to get closer to this area. So hopefully you can see a little bit better of me painting the tentacles to this octopus. He's twisting his arms back and forth. And I'm just showing you me watercolor painting, and I'm not trying to do a tutorial. I don't really like those beginner tutorials. I don't mind watching you do the watercolor painting or the painting or the drawing, but I don't need a tutorial. Someone who wants to do a tutorial, well, there might be people out there that want to try some art to learn by. For my great niece, she keeps getting on my laptop here and looking for how to draw, but she's 8 years old and she's able to draw what I think like would be a 12-year-old level. She's really good at drawing already. I was too. And my choir director really liked my drawings and saved them. Now, I'm trying to come back and forth into some of these areas because I'm letting parts of it dry as I'm working on one, so I'm going back and forth so it will be dry enough not to bleed. I don't want it to bleed. And I'm having to look up at it close. I'm leaving this area here for these. The tentacle thingies, the suction cups are white looking on the photograph I found. Well, I found more than one photograph. I've kind of combined them a little bit because one I liked and another I liked and different parts of them I liked, and then I just kind of fudged it to make sure you see 8 of the arms. So therefore, you're probably not going to find a photograph exactly like this that I've done here. Yeah. Okay. And that's going to have some shadow behind it on that area where I'm at now, because I don't want to make this lighter than that. So I'm going to need to put shadow on this area right here after this part dries. And it'll probably just do it with a different color of watercolor. Now turning it to reach that area just a little bit better. You don't have to draw it the way it looks. You don't have to draw it from top down. You can turn it to where you need to, as long as you keep in mind where the shadows and the darks are going to be, because that's what's important, knowing where your shadows and darks are going to be. And this is underneath him, so he will be a little, maybe I don't need to change that. Maybe it is underneath him and it would be darker because it's more in the shadow than the other part. So I guess it'll be okay. Because this one's not meant to be, this body part's probably in front of that. I keep going back into my, just barely tapping it into what I put into the jar, that little bubble thing. They had some cute ones. I think there was one like a fish too. So, but I have to stop spending money for now. Being on SSI, I'm not allowed to have more than $2,000, and sometimes my beginning amount was $2,900, which is more than what I'm allotted to have, and so I've, including helping pay for my food, which is the one thing. My food stamps got reduced, which I was expecting. Actually, I was expecting my food stamps to be gone, bye-bye, no more. But no, it's just reduced. It cut in half, which I'm okay with. I can handle that. Because, I need to keep from having over $2,000. So I'm not really selling my art that I'm making. I would be glad to give it to local people. I don't want to ship and mail. It's not convenient for me to get the rollator in the car, get a ride down with Mom because I don't drive anymore, and go inside the post office and mail things. Not as easy anymore. So I just tapped a little bit of this darker color because I'm going to bring it here Even though this is now in front, I'm going to bring this one just darker. Right there. And do another little squeeze. Get more water. I like this brush. I just wish they made some with the watercolor brush hairs that was on the other brushes. But they use the synthetic nylon with this water brushes, and well, I guess that's okay, but I would rather have the ones they typically use water brushes put into, typically have for watercolor brushes, put into the water brushes. But I'm not one that likes to take my thing and go outside and travel. When I was younger, I think I would have been, but I never really got into the habit of taking my art out. That's why I started with colored pencils. But then I discovered I just like colored pencils better because the medium is easier to deal with. You don't have to wet it. It don't have to be wet. I did Chinese ink stick watercolor for a while, and then I got to where I was just concentrating more on the colored pencils. And I've used Prismacolor. I've never had a trouble with them fading. Maybe it's because I don't have them where the sun shines on them. I don't put them in the direct sunlight. Most people are not going to put their paintings they display in the direct sunlight, hopefully. And the people that have bought them or have been given to by me, family, friends, none of them tell me that they faded. And I don't know, my family would say, hey, this faded, this doesn't look. So, yeah, I mostly sold it to family. I've given some away to not family, but some of those might not have been watercolor. Let's get that tentacle right there. Okay, I have to change where I hold this because I think that some of these tentacles are hard to see right there. Little fine details that I'm getting. And I hope my video doesn't overheat the computer. And made sure it was all the way charged. It needs to come back into here. Yeah, I need to wipe it some more. Sorry if I'm not talking. I'm concentrating on this tricky area right here. Now, this will be darker on both sides. And it should be darker than the tentacle coming in front of it. Twist it around again. When I erased the number 2 to make it just barely show, some of these made it very pale. After I had my cataract surgery, I wanted to do art again, but I wasn't just satisfied with the colored pencil. I was interested in doing things that I've not done before, or things that I haven't done in a long time since school. And traditional watercolor is one thing I haven't done, but I've never used Japanese watercolors, and I was interested in that, seeing what that would be like, because they look gorgeous. They look very gorgeous. I should have wiped that down a little bit. I'm just going to bring this here. Go back over here in this area. Gonna wipe it down some. See if I can soak this up. I got too much right there. Get that line a little smoother. I'm building that up right there. It needed some help. Oh, too much water. I lost a white tentacle. Let's see. We're going to find out if it will be white when that dries and I start with the white. I'm going to go with the blue next. One more area. I wanted to dip back into my paint rather than to get that loaded again. Let's just do a little tiny squeeze. Okay. That was a little bit much water. But it is what it is. I'm going to have to find these tentacles are all over the place on this one. Let's just get this pale on there. And come back with that later. Okay, we got to let that part dry. And I'm going to change out. I'm using this thing to try to clean my brush a little bit before dipping it into the water. One more time. This is my going to be my watercolor washcloth. I used it for when I did made soaps. I am not making soaps anymore. I'm not physically able to take my soaps to a market. And with me getting shots in my eyes, it's not a good idea for me to crochet right now either. Okay, we got that cleaned off in there. You see the green again. Now, I need the wider brush like this. No, this one. And I'm going to take my napkin and soak up that color a little bit because I put too much water in that. And because I'm done with that color for now. And we're gonna, oops, sorry, loud noise. Gonna go with this one here. This has a little push pump right there. You don't push it the same way you did the one I was working with. And for some reason, there we go. Get it going. Load it up. And pick another one right there. Now, let's see, where can we start with? I think this area. Covering a lot of ground with this. Going on the side to get a finer line when it's close to the red. I don't want it to go over the red. The grassy green, I don't mind it going over the blue, but I don't need a purple on the octopus. So, dip right back into that. I probably have that out of your view. I don't know how long it's going to take me to do this watercolor. I'll be finished today, but it was not going to be quick. I don't do quick. I'm just patting it there. Trying not to go near the red just yet. Let it dry some more. Back into my... Actually, I'm going to go back into this one. Get some deeper. And yes, I should have wiped it off, but I wanted it deeper. And to tell you the truth, underneath him is going to be a big shadow. It's going to be darker anyway. So might as well do it as dark as I can. And get that blotchiness of the square brush. Coming on the side there, trying not to mess the tentacle arm up of the just barely tapping him. I'm not doing so much that I want to remove the ink watercolor. No, I've seen some glass ink pens that I'm curious about. Oh, I need to go back with that red. I've seen areas on there now where I didn't do the red where I should have on the mouth area. I missed it. I missed it. I missed it. Oh well. I can easily do this. I suppose this will be an easy one to get more of if I run out of these watercolors because they were cheap. And I like this color that this is getting. I don't know if it's light fast. It might not be. I'm not worried about light fast. I'm not going to test to see if it needs. And when I get to this part finished, I don't think the other water areas are dry enough yet. This is definitely lighter than what I had because the water is now making that ink, watercolor ink. I don't know, the watercolor paint. I'm calling it the wrong thing. It's making it thicker on the where I put it in the watercolor area tube, not tube, but pan. What you call it? Just a block. And I get a little bit darker. Spread it here. I chose this shirt because the sleeves will not drag into my paint. That's still wet down there. But I can go into this area up here. Gonna reload my brush. Do a little squeeze. I don't know if my squeeze was working. Get some swiggly thing going. There, it dripped. That's what I needed it to do, is needed it to drip. Needed it to drip. A little bit much water. Remove some of that water. This blue, some of it's drying quickly. And yet some of that red is not drying as quickly as the blue. Put some water underneath him. He's in the water, of course, because he's an octopus. He lives in the ocean. Okay, now I'm going to come around here. And get some of this up here. Where I think some of this is dried enough on top. The lighter layer of this arm is definitely dried enough. Oh, if you're bored, I'm so sorry. You can just scooch it all the way to the end if you want to see what it turned out like and you don't want to watch me paint the whole time. I'm layering some of these areas and letting the water current have different values there. Oops, that one wasn't dry. Some of this red area is definitely not dry yet. I wonder if I should switch to a smaller brush for this, but I'm just about finished with this area anyway. So I don't want to add too much water to my brush because then it would be a big puddle like I've had a few times before. I think this is dry enough now to come back in here. Go back into that to get this area right here a little darker. Now to come over here to this other side. I'm going to load my brush and refill this area. I missed another little area. I see where one of the tentacles, I got lost. I didn't see that. I mean, I overlooked it. I saw it, but I overlooked it. I was getting the main ones. That one's a little tip one that don't have any white part to the tentacle. Gonna be sad when I use up this color, because I'm not going to allow myself to get another palette until I use up more than just one. And I suspect if I have a sea creature series like Paula wants me to, then I'm going to use this ocean color. I like this ocean. It's a good color for ocean. Wipe this down. Rub it off. Slurp it up. Slurp it up. Wipe it down again. Slurp it up. It got too much water there. I'll go back in here. little bit darker there. Okay. So part of these have glitter pearlescent colors in this little cheap kit. Gotten quiet. Okay, let's see. I think that's good for the blue. Oops, my white went plop. So I'm going to clean out this brush by squeezing the water out of it. And that one was really easy to clean. Okay, now. Yes, it was this one. Yep. Fumbled fingers. And dropped it. I will have another darker color coming through there, but we're darkening that area a little. And I just gave the water to the pan there, the palette. And get some of this color here into my palette there. I think I like the larger holes in that palette. And we're going to come down here, make the mouth a little bit darker that you're seeing. It's that area right there. So far, okay. I don't really want to make the lighter area too much darker, but I wanted to get it to where it don't have a sharp line on those areas. But I do need darker right here. Come back to this little area we missed now that the blues had enough time to dry a little bit. Get that area that we missed, or I missed. Get the area that I missed. Now, clean this brush back out. When you're done painting with these water brushes, you make sure that your tips are clean, and then you empty them. You don't leave and you let them dry. I tried to make sure I took the stain off and I failed. So I'm not going to worry about that part right now. They're going to be stained, obviously. So I think that's the one I just used. No, it didn't. I didn't use this one. Okay. Let's see. Go into this deep area. It's a pearly color. It'll be darker. It's almost too much. It's not dark enough. Oh, I missed some water. I'm seeing areas that I missed. Okay. Got over here. Let that have a chance to dry a little bit. Try this one. It's not squeezing right. Mom's playing her game. It's making the blue darker when I'm missing where I'm supposed to be going. Not redefining that area. Just making it darker. So I had to get my pen back in the brush of that. Brush of that one. I'm not wiping it down because I'm going for dark, dark, dark. And I don't think I have enough water in it to need to wipe it down too much if I'm just swirling it around. I used the lighter ones before. Now to get some darker and lighter of these seaweed stuff happening. So far. Okay. Now. Swirly, swirly, swirly. It does take a while longer for the cheaper set to get some color into it. I'm fumble fingers right now. I do have neuropathy in my hands. Mom's playing Block Blast. I can blame myself for that one, I guess. Got Natalie into playing Block Blast, and so Mom is now. I don't want green into this yellow, but I want the yellow to give some highlights to the grass. I guess I'm going to get green into it. Now, let's see. I'm going to go with the white. I got the white right here. These can lift up. Or I can just do this. Put that back in there. And turn it around. Now, I don't know if you can see the white. It's right here. Twirling it. I want it plenty opaque. I'm going to bring in a little bit of white around the eye. Too much. I gotta let that dry. And now dot it up. I don't mind too much now. Tentacles, here we come. See, the Japanese one's not quite so opaque. When the opaque white dies, I might have to come back in with some little bit of that other color and get it. And I missed the grass area. I miss areas all the time. All the time. Oops. A little bit too much. Happy mistakes sometimes. It just made the tentacle bigger. That's what that did. And in some of these areas where the blue decided it was going to be a little nerve-wracking, there's going to be tentacles coming and seeing. You're going to see the tentacle. I don't want to dirty up the white too much. Just get in there with the tip of that and let it do drippy droppies on it. And then I had to look back to see, did I miss a tentacle? Suction cup thingy. Am I calling it tentacles? I am, aren't I? Whoopsie. Whoopsie whoopsie. I missed that area right there. At least if I didn't miss it, it's soaked in. And after working on the turtle, I knew it would be easy to do the tentacles this way. That this light is like opaque. And hopefully this way of doing this and using the Kurtaki. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct. The Tambi Kurtaki paint, with it being shiny because it has probably honey as a binder instead of guar gum. It will make the drawing pop. It make it look like it's breathing. Make it look like it's alive. Not just the white, but the sea creature being shiny is what I'm trying to get him shiny. I want the grass to be glittery, but not necessarily the same shininess. So that's why I'm doing part of it with one type of paint and part of it with another type of paint to give it depth and feeling. Oops. Okay, I didn't like what that did. It soaked in the wrong direction. Possibly because my blue was not dry. So we're going to soak it back up. We might have to come back with some of these dots later. Okay, do I have any dots that I need to do? You think that I need to clean the brush, dry the brush, put the brush back, and look to see what I need to work on. Black. I don't know if this is black. It's next to gray. But I don't need much black. Oh wait, I can't use it right now. Okay. This is one of my nail brushes that I brought for the oil pastel, but it had brushes on one end, which I'm not using with the oil pastel, but I'm using those metal tips. But it came with the things that I am using, these blender things, and they're the silicone tips, perfect to blend the oil pastels with. And then, of course, I've got some oil sticks now to have an oil painting drawing without it being pastel. No wax in the oil sticks. And so it'll be more like an oil painting, but it'd be oil drawing with pastel, with oil sticks. And so, I'm going to say bye on this video, because before I can do any more to this, it needs to dry, because the white around the black needs to dry. Well, maybe I can do the crab. Let's turn this around and work on the crab. It will be, let's see, let's choose this smaller one. Well, it's not really smaller, but get in there. He's I don't know if I want that color. Change my mind. Let's see. That color. That color is still darker than the one I was using. I don't want it as dark as the mouth. But I might have to darken the areas around the losing sight of the crab. It's really being lost. Parts of the crab need to be darker than the skin around it. So I guess I do need to go ahead and get back that darker one. And the mouth area will need to be darker than that. wiping my brush off, trying to pick up some of the paint. I'm not trying to get it onto the palette. This is just such a tiny little area to work with here. I needed a little bit more liquid in that. Now, yes, I'm getting the mouth a little darker, but this time I do need to take it to the palette. But I probably might want to remove some of that. Try my brush. Okay, another trick that I have to remove some of the darker areas if I don't like it is to lay it on there and lift up. I'll go back into this color. And go over top of the black, because I don't want it to be black, I just want it to be a little red. Okay. Now I'm going to let this dry and I'm going to finish it up and I'll show you what it looks like later. You'll be on my Facebook. I don't think I can put a photo on YouTube, so if you're on YouTube, I'm sorry. Okay, bye.